What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the 2011 BMW M3. If you don't know me, if you're new here, my name is Zach. I'm the owner of fullzenco.com, and here we go. So in the BMW world, there is in fact a couple different products that don't really have solutions. I'm going to show you the one that I'm talking about today. But basically you have OEM, or you have a very not enjoyable and expensive Chinese version of that. And that's it. So I'm going to see if I can design and print my own and test my own. And then I'm going to send it off to a CNC company who is then going to cut them for me, and then I'll get them back in the final form, and then I will have my very own final finished product. And they're going to be able to fit many different BMWs, not just one.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Alright, so if you haven't figured it out quite yet, what I'm referring to is this piece right here. Well, I hope that I can do this successfully because I just broke this one. Not like it wasn't already decimated anyways, but now it's not going to stick in there and stay by itself because I broke both clips. Nice. Okay, so what are our current options? Let's take a look at those and let's just see what's wrong with it. Alright, so we have the OEM option here, and it's $11.67. Can't complain about that. It's really cheap. From FCP too, with a lifetime warranty. The only issue with these are that the material they're made out of, they just don't hold up over time. So as you can see, they've really taken a beating. And a lot of times when you're looking at a car for sale, like a used car for sale and it's a BMW, you can tell if the car has basically been taken care of really well or not. Because if it hasn't been taken care of really well, at least one of these, if not multiple, will be missing. Now in drifting, we have to jack up our car a lot. We work on our car a lot. On the track, any type of track sport, right? So the fact that these just don't hold up very well, we have to fix that. I want to make one that's better than this. I want to make one that's stronger than this. I want to make one that's more attractive than this. And there's just a lot wrong with this, and I want to fix it. Or at least I want to give myself and, a handful of others another option. Let's take a look at the other aftermarket option. So this brand here, they make a metal option, and for 4, it's $96.99. I don't know what shipping cost. I don't know what the actual final cost would be, but I don't care. It comes with 4 oval shaped nuts, 4 bolts, 4 jacking pads, and 4 rubber O-rings. And if you see here, I like the shape of it and stuff. I like the texture on the bottom. It's got a texture on the bottom, as you can see there. I think that would be a good idea. And I mean, honestly, these would probably do exactly what I want them to do, but I don't really want to buy these. Nothing about these says I'm just not excited by them. I am more excited by the fact that I could make my own. Alright, and there is also, I just found this one. I've never found this one before. This one is, and actually, I really like the way that this one looks. It also has a rubber gasket. So they've used the same similar bolt idea. Looks like it comes with an Allen wrench. I guess it comes with this piece of plastic and some studs as well, and a bolt. So maybe you bolt the plastic piece to the body, and then you can attach the metal piece to the plastic. I'm not really sure, but these are $131.98. Okay, so you can buy them with or without the plastic spacers, and you can do aluminum, candy red, black. I'm just finding all of these ideas. I found another one, and so I've never even found more than just ones before. So now that I'm trying to make one, of course there's all kinds of these different options. So this one is, I'm not gonna lie, they look quite premium and just have a 1 bolt through the whole thing. The problem with these is they're really thin, which is good. However, for my exact purpose, for a street car is great because then you won't see them. You don't really want to see them. But for my exact purpose, I would rather them be more visible, easy to find, easy to see, so that if someone else is jacking up my car, or me, it's easy to slide a jack under it at the track because you already know it's right there. Also, I have arrows indicating on my side skirt where that is. And that helps tremendously on speed, because then I don't have to get down all the way on my hands and knees and look under where they would be. Wow, these are $269.95. I think that's more for maybe like a show car thing. If I had a show car, I'd probably put them on a show car. All right, I'm gonna call that the options, because I don't see any other new options here. Let's go ahead and get to measuring and see what I can come up with. Here we go. Okay, so this is on Tinkercad. It's just a rectangle. It literally just was the first thing that popped up and said, tinker this. So I'm gonna try that. I don't know what program that I prefer, but this is what my friend uses, so I guess I'll use this and give it a shot. I'm just gonna go ahead and take some measurements first. I think the size of the OEM is pretty fine. Right, 63 millimeters this direction, about 92 millimeters this direction, about 35 millimeters this direction. And so something that I'm probably going to do, since this is a track car, is I think I'm going to make mine slightly longer. I think I'll maybe go to maybe either 40 or 42 millimeters, because I would like for them to be easier to see, and then, you know, maybe even make them a bright color, maybe offer black, but also maybe pink, maybe red, whatever. And this design is quite ugly, and although there's no bolts used, which is great, but there's going to need to be a bolt for that to work the way that I would like for it to work. Might as well cue a time lapse here. This will probably take a while. I'll tell you right now, I don't like Tinkercad, so let's try something else. Don't have a clue what's wrong, but the computer is just like being absolute dog shit. So I'm going to go get my other computer. Alright guys, so here is what I have so far. As you can see, I've just put full Zenko on the side of it and took some measurements off of this, and I'm a complete beginner. I'm using Shaper 3D. I do really like Shaper 3D, I just don't know how to use it yet. So I just kept it basically as basic as possible. Put FZCO on this side, match my diode line up, you know, had some rounded edges, just basically gave myself a good base to work with. I put these pieces here, and as you can see, like this little piece here is 4 millimeters, but the thickness including this little clip is 6 millimeters. So these are 4 millimeters thick. They're the same height, they're the same width, they're supposed to be the same distance from the edge here. We'll see if I got that right. And then I don't have anything in the middle here because mine will be slightly different. But basically I want to get to a point in this video where I can print this on my 3D printer and then see what it actually looks like on the car today. So I'm going to export this as an STL file, and since I'm just using the free version of Shaper 3D, it'll be a low resolution. I'm just going to save this to my desktop. Now we can see here it is. So should be able to import this into Bamboo Studio. So right now all I'm doing is attempting to change the filament on this thing. Now, I'll be honest with you, my friend usually does this, and I don't really know how to do any of this. This is also not the same filament I had. Hopefully it works. Is it really that easy? I'm honestly not sure, but cool. Now I'm going to take the orange out and put some black in there. We are currently refilled, and I'm going to try to import this into Bamboo Studio and see what it does. Before I forget, I'm just going to give this a wipe down with some rubbing alcohol. Hopefully this is the right plate. I don't know. My friend is usually in charge of every bit of this, so we'll see. So all I did was drag it from here to here. That seemed to work. So you can kind of see what we're working with now. I don't know why it would want to print it like that, but I think you can, yep, there we go. I click this auto orient button and that seemed to do the trick. Now where it has this hole for the bolt, I'm not sure how that's going to work. It'll probably have to do like port up it, but not the end of the world. Let's see. Okay, I had to get the printer reconnected to the Wi-Fi. Not really sure why, but now I'm connected from the computer to the printer. And I'm just trying to go through and figure out what all I need to do here. And it's telling me right here where I was mentioning that where the bolt goes through that it'll have supports, like it'll need supports there. Enable support. This is slice okay. And you can kind of see like how it's going to print. Get that thing out of the way there. So you can see where it'll be doing the support for the bolt hole, so I'll have to just break that out once it's done. And then it'll do the little things that keep it from spinning up on top. I think that's all I need, I'm pretty sure. So here goes nothing. Now it's sending the print to the printer. And now it's got the print, and now it's, I guess, loading the print. And now it's going to do a series of unfortunate events here, and it's going to, it noticed that I was getting that piece of plastic off the end of the tip. But it's going to basically check to see where it is and what it needs to do, clean the nozzle, and heat up everything, heat up the filament to where it needs to be. And I'm going to put the camera on time-lapse now, and you all will get to watch it on time-lapse, and I'll come back and check on it when it's done. It's supposed to take 2 hours and 2 minutes to print this. So we ran into a little issue. I thought that I had selected this new filament that I had just put on here, but apparently I didn't. And so then it used this filament here, which was almost out. It got this far, and it's supposed to automatically switch. Like that's the whole system, like the AMS system. It automatically is supposed to switch from that one to this one. They're both PLA plus, PLA Pro, I mean. And so it was supposed to switch to this, and then when it does, it just sits there like that and does nothing. So I wasted an hour and a half of thinking that it was printing when it actually was not. Now if I press pause and then press play again, it will do like 1 or 2 laps around, making me think that it's going to do something, but then it does not do anything. So I think I'm just going to start the print over and use the new filament, or at least try. I thought that I already did that, but unfortunately, let's try it again. Well, it was off to a good start. My friend who knows a lot more about this than me is answering the phone, unfortunately. So I just stopped the print. That's hot. Well, it was looking pretty dang good, honestly. Like, it's really hard to get these little pieces off like this. Maybe that's where I messed up, because I accidentally left a bit right here. Well, I guess where I messed up was not picking the right filament, because it was actually doing good otherwise. All right, let's try this once again. Okay, so I unloaded this filament and I loaded the new filament. The only issue is, like, when you go to this filament here, it doesn't give you Creality brand, so I just clicked generic. I hope it works, but I did select PET G, which the other is PLA Pro, so now we're on PET G, which is what I have there. So now we're going to try this again. Print files, next. No, incompatible type. Why? I don't have enough of that probably. Come on, what do you mean incompatible? I don't know. I mean, what if I just like click a different brand? I don't know. Yeah, that's not working. Damn it. All right, I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but I put in that it's Bamboo PET G, even though it's not Bamboo PET G, it's just Creality PET G. But I guess we're going to find out. Okay, the part is finally done. That took a really long time. This will probably be pretty satisfying. Nice. That's pretty sweet. I like it. Now let's compare it to the stock one. So here's the stock one, obviously, and here's mine. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I really don't know how that ended up so much wider. Oh, wait, well, no, that's not right either. I was going to say I must have made a mistake and accidentally made it wider. So I thought, okay, well maybe it's the bottom. No, it used the width as the middle of it. So it's not as wide down here as I expected. Well, I guess it is. But the top is wider than I expected. That's the point. Did not mean to do that, but it is what it is. What about length? The length it's slightly longer than OEM. And the height of these little pieces seems to be accurate. And obviously I didn't put the center piece because there will be a bolt there. I did put the place for the O-ring to go, but I think that will need to be smaller. And it has sort of a gasket on this, but not quite. Somehow, I don't know, I think I forgot to actually measure that width. And so those are actually skinnier than OEM. But all these are going to do is literally prevent it from spinning while you're tightening it up, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Let's see if this actually fits in there. Oh, one more thing. I did purposely make it taller. And that's for two reasons. When you're on the side of the car and you're about to jack up the car, it's a lot faster if you can see the jacking point easier. So obviously this is black, but you can print it in any color, right? Or you can anodize the finished product in any color. But making it that much more visible, it's only 5 millimeters or so, but that much more visible does make it easier to see. So quicker tire changes on the track. But also, sometimes the exterior of the jack will actually bend up the side skirt on these. So I'm hoping that that extra bit of length will prevent that. So let's see what it looks like on the car. So the stock one looks like this, and the aftermarket one that I made, oh no. Oh man, the placement of these is too far apart. Dang it. Well, this isn't going to be the finished product anyway, so I can just break it off. So that'll show us what it at least looks like in there. Nice. That looks nice. You can see where it sits below the side skirt now. This is another idea. So you can this is just a concrete anchor. So this is not like exactly what I would use. And it's the wrong size to actually go in here. But basically what the idea is here is you would tighten this up against the body, install the anchor or install the stud, and then you would slip this onto it and put a nut and a washer on it. But that size anchor and bolt and stud, whatever, is not going to be ideal for that. And this style is an example, right? So we're not actually going to use this to supply to customers or anything like that. So you have an anchor like this and a screw. This is a drywall anchor. And when you screw this together, these edges spread out. And let's see, I don't know if I have anything handy. Okay, so you have the anchor and the screw. See what I'm saying? Spreads it open like that, gives it something to grip to. So those sides will go out. And in this particular scenario, it's obviously not going to squish enough. It's not going to be like this piece here is too wide to grip onto the chassis, but that's a style. And there's actually another style that I don't have a visual example of, but it basically looks like an A shape and there's a spring in it. And so you drill a hole, like this is also for drywall. You drill a hole and then it springs open and then you would tighten it. And as you tighten it, it pulls down on it. So then it grips. And that would work, but I would want a more heavy duty style version versus like an actual drywall, whatever. Obviously, I'm not going to supply that either. We're going to try to supply stuff that will actually last. So those are the ideas. You know, you could have it clip in like stock, but I think it would be nice to have them removable as well. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And, you know, I really would like to have this installed, at least for this video, so I could jack it up. Let me see what I can do. So obviously this is just for mock-up purposes, but basically if I lessen the space there, it should actually have something to grip on, because then it will grip like here. But then that will also bring the puck down by that amount right there. So keep that in mind, but we're just going to do it just to see what it looks like. That will also give me a little bit more of a visual of what it would look like if it was longer. Oh, it's so sketchy. I really need more bigger washers. Not sure if I'll even be able to get this on here, honestly. It's barely just hanging there. Now it's going in crooked because the washers are not big enough. All right, that gives us an idea. It gives us a visual. I like the amount that it hangs down on, if I'm just being honest. Like, it'll be easier to see, That means faster tire changes at the track. So I think I will make it the slight bit longer. What do you guys think? The logo looks nice and crispy. And you can choose between two different logos, FZCO, Full Zenco. One do you guys like better? Now, so I want to put a jack on this, but obviously the flat surface is not even touching the car. It's just like the tiny little circle worth of spacers. It's all on that pressure point, which is also, you know, there's not much material in here either. But let's do it and just see what happens. Pretty curious to see if it breaks or not, especially since it's all going to be put pressure on just that one little tiny spot. And this is the small jack, so it does still barely fit in the top of that jack, even though it's bigger than OEM. All right, are we ready? Will it stand to live or will it die? That's picking the car up. Yep, it's holding the weight. It's holding the weight. Wow, nice. It didn't even make any sounds and it's just on that tiny little bit. Huh. All right, I'm going to measure this area here and see what the perfect measurement actually is. That's 42.61, and the gap is 9 millimeters. And I can actually add a little L shape there if I want to as well, because it has a little L shape there. I forgot all of those numbers. Basically what I've done so far is I have lengthened these to 29 millimeters because the gap is 30 millimeters. And so that'll kind of help with slop and keeping the piece straight when you screw it in. And I also shortened them because there's no reason for them to be 16 millimeters tall. Now they're 10 millimeters tall, and they probably don't even have to be that tall. But I also moved them closer together, the same width as the OEM ones. And I may also utilize a bigger bolt because I want these things to be heavy duty, and I need to make this area smaller as well. So I'll do that here in just a minute. And I also wanted to make it taller, but also slightly smaller overall. I like the big surface area that it has, but at the same time, it's going to be harder to make it fit every single car because, like my M4 for example, it has like a smaller area to work with slightly. So it would be easier if for this to be more universal if the whole piece was just very slightly smaller. So I'm going to do that and I'll come back to you. Whoa. I cleaned that plate before I printed that, but this material must be slightly different. Probably should have used a glue stick with it. Now I know. So that looks pretty dang good. I like it. And then this time I actually also printed this tiny little nut as well. But this probably won't do the trick. I just wanted to be able to mount it. I may have to remake this nut, most likely, because I literally made this like so fast and with zero thought into it. But, oh man. Obviously, it wouldn't take very long at all to reprint just this nut, so I will design it better next time, for sure. But it might work for the time being. Well, there's nothing to prevent it from spinning, though. Yeah, I'll have to remake that. Anyways, let's look at this part, the important part that I spent quite a bit of time with. So, the difference, I made this part wider and also shorter this time. And I added this L shape to it as well. And that should really help from preventing it from spinning. I moved the logo down so that when it's up in the car, you'll be able to see that logo better. And I changed the tolerances of where the bolt actually goes as well, and so they should be tighter tolerances now. Maybe too tight. Might have to change that. Cause like, could it go in there? Yes, but it's not freely going in and out of there. Didn't mean to do that, but I didn't want any slack in there. I was just trying to tighten it up. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I gotta run to the store real quick, but as soon as I get back, I will. So as I mentioned, the hole is just ever so slightly too small. So we're gonna fix that really easily. Now the bolt fits perfect. That's a 1/4 inch drill bit. I do that in millimeters, but I can figure out that's like a perfect fit with no slop. Literally none. Anyways, let's try it on. So originally I was kind of thinking, put this bolt in through here. Oh, what the heck? No way. Oh, it barely fits. Okay, I'll have to make that hole bigger as well, even though that's the same size on that hole that I did last time. Whatever. And then put this little tiny nut on top here, which I definitely have to redesign. And so I guess the idea is that you stick it up in the hole and then you pull downwards on it just a little bit and then you tighten it up. But I need for that to have little arms on it actually. Broke my little nut. Okay, so you can see it on there now, and I forgot to make it longer, but you can see the lettering on there just barely. It certainly needs to be longer, in my opinion, just so that I can see it better. But I also need to redesign that nut. I guess it's gone now. Gone forever in this hole. Yep, it's in there. This is pretty interesting since I put these little arms on here, those little L-shaped arms. Fits right up in here. Look how snug. No movement. Heck yeah. Nice. That is a good fitment. That is a really good fitment. I wonder if I could make that arm just a little bit wider. It's like a perfect fitment with no slack, but that arm would probably be kind of weak. Well, it'd be metal though, but that could still get worn down if it moved over time. Also, if you hit a speed bump, like if you drag this on a speed bump, I don't want it to rip the entirety of this hole off of your chassis. I want it to rip this off. So I was going to put a piece right here, just like the OEM one. But if I put a piece right here and you hit a speed bump and all of the force is directly this way, or if you go off track and you hit something and all of the force is directly this way, there's a good chance that it could just tear this all out versus this breaking off. Now, obviously, you would rather just have this break off. So I don't think that I'll be putting anything right here. Instead, I'll just use probably a grade 5 bolt. That way, it's more likely to tear the bolt, or break the bolt, and tear this off, shear this off, so that it doesn't ruin your chassis. Let me know what you guys think about that. To get up off the floor and rip my shoestring off. What the heck? Literally just ripped off. I need to redesign the nut, so we're going to take some measurements for that. I need to make both holes, the through hole as well as the pocket hole, slightly larger, and I think that's it. No, I need to make it longer. I need to write that down. Alright guys, so here's what we have this time. We're getting some lifting around the edges. So for some reason with the Pet G, it's not having a good time sticking to the bed plate, even with some glue on there. The PLA was sticking flawlessly. Maybe I need to use a different plate or something. Anyways, here's what we have so far. The hole is literally perfect, as well as the hole in the bottom now fits the socket. Pretty much perfect. Again, I don't know why, but for some reason it didn't print the F on this side, but it did on this side. Not sure if I missed that whenever I was extruding the letters or not, but I also changed the nut to be a lot better. So this is the new nut, and I didn't realize, because I was zoomed in really far, and I just did not realize that these little pieces were so tiny. So those will probably break off when I go to tighten it. Anyways, here's something that I did so that I didn't have to spend the time on a thread necessarily. But if you look, I don't know if the camera will focus on this, but if you look, there's like 3 little points in there inside of that hole, and that's for the threads to grip onto from the screw. However, I should have made the hole slightly bigger, because the hole is the same exact size as, or well, the hole is actually, yeah, the hole is actually the same exact size as the screw, which I meant to do. However, it's too small for me to like just start this by hand, so I will have to drill that out a bit. And then we can try to fit it, even though these pieces will probably break off, but we'll try it. So let's try it. To install this is the plan anyways. Plans change, but I would assumably put the bolt in just like this, and then I would have the nut facing downwards, just like this. And I did go ahead and drill that nut out just a bit. Basically just removed those pieces, those 3 little pieces that were in there. So I'm already seeing an issue. And wait, no, that might work. That might still work. Let's just try it. So the plan is basically to put it up in the hole just like this, because that's the direction the hole is facing, and then turn it 90 degrees, and then we'll pull down on this part until we can tighten it. I guess I should actually test it without the block first. Let's test it without the block first, just to see if it even fits correctly. So it would go up into the hole, turn, and yeah, it works. Wait. Oh no, it's not far enough apart. The little prongs are not far enough apart. Good thing is that nut won't take very long to print, so we can print just the nut. But let me show you what I'm talking about here. So if you see that hole, so the idea was to put this up in here, turn it like that, and then pull down, but it's just ever so slightly not long enough. And we do have plenty of room to make it longer. And then I will make those little prongs bigger as well. But let's try to install it anyways. I did make this thicker, so I'm curious to see exactly how it turns out. Cool. It's officially in there. And it's very sturdy. It doesn't move. Let me get the light out again, and you can see the lettering. Nice. I like the lettering there. It's low key, but it's still there. What do you guys think of that? I'm happy with that. That looks nice. That is sick. Pretty proud of myself, honestly. I gotta take a picture of it. So now let's put a jack on it, a small jack, to see just how it lands. So this is a traditional 3-ton regular, not low profile, or well, low profile, but not the extended version of the Daytona jack. I know most people are missing the piece of rubber in there, so that's how I'm going to test it. And this is the smaller jack. I prefer the bigger ones, but not everybody has that. Huh. I think the PLA Pro or PLA Plus material was stronger, but it's not hitting the side skirt still, and it's off the jack stands now. So it's not touching the side skirt, even though it is eating into that 3D print. And that is not touching. And that is not touching. as you can see there. So I would call that a win. I just need to redesign that nut just to be a little bit longer and fix the F on there, and I think we're good. I was actually like pretty surprised at how well the nut worked when it went on, so let's see if it comes off just as easy. It does. Heck yeah. And it didn't, those little nubs didn't even break off. Dude, awesome. Here is where the jack was eating into the 3D print right there. But I'm happy with the height. I'm happy with the size. It is smaller than the original. I'm happy with the tolerances. The only thing I gotta do is make that nut longer and I can send it off to CNC and fix that missing F for some reason. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments. So I printed. Oh man. So here's the first one. And so I scaled it up and printed the second one. And the hole is just perfect for this. So hopefully it works just right. First I'm just going to test it without the block. Perfect. Perfect. Now let's try with the block. I have to say, I'm pretty proud of that. That turned out great. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for this video. So I can get to designing something else and making a different video. But in the future you will see the finished product, hopefully, as long as it's not extremely excessively costly, like one of the suppliers that I just checked with. I have other options. Stay tuned and make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and comment on this video. Let me know what you thought about it. Want to get some cool gear, all-out gear for all-out drivers, go to fullzenco.com, and that would support the brand and support the build, support me. Greatly appreciated. And let me know if there's any questions I can answer for you. Make sure you subscribe, share with your friend, and we'll see you in the next video.